Every week, an entire neighborhood throws away hundreds of pounds of kitchen waste. Vegetable peels, leftover rice, spoiled fruit, it all ends up in the trash, like it has no value. I used to be the same. Every time I took the trash out, I felt a little uncomfortable, but I didn't know what else to do with it. That changed after a power outage that lasted almost 8 hours. That night, my garden was completely dark. The LED garden lights were off, and the security cameras had stopped working. I stood outside with a flashlight, looking around, and asked myself, what would I do if the power stayed out even longer? How could I keep basic lighting and security without depending entirely on the grid? That question made me start thinking differently. I realized that every single day, the whole neighborhood was throwing away a huge amount of organic waste. What if, instead of letting it all go to the landfill, we collected it and processed it properly? Could we turn it into something useful? I started learning about biogas. After reading and watching many materials, I realized this could be a solution. It could not only produce cooking gas, but also generate electricity enough to power garden lights and keep security cameras running during a blackout. I decided to give it a try. But I didn't want to only use waste from my own house. I wanted to see what would happen if I collected kitchen waste from the entire neighborhood. The idea sounded ambitious, but I felt that if it worked, the impact would be much more meaningful. After making the decision, the first real challenge was figuring out how to collect kitchen waste from multiple households without making it inconvenient or unpleasant for my neighbors. I didn't want to just knock on doors and ask for their trash. I knew that would feel strange. So I started by talking to a few neighbors I already knew. I explained the project simply that I wanted to collect their kitchen scraps to turn into gas and electricity. I promised to handle everything cleanly and not cause any smell or mess. To my surprise, most of them were supportive right from the start. Some even said they had been looking for a better way to deal with food waste instead of just throwing it in the regular trash. A few of them even offered to put their kitchen scraps into a separate container for me. Once I had a few households participating, I set up a simple system. I gave each house a small bucket with a lid. Every 2 or 3 days, I would go around, collect the full buckets, and replace them with clean ones. I made sure the process stayed clean and easy for everyone. I didn't want anyone to feel like they were doing extra work. At first, I was only collecting from about 4 or 5 houses. But as word spread, more neighbors started asking if they could join. Within just 2 weeks, I was collecting kitchen waste from nearly 10 households on my street. That was when I realized I needed a much larger system than a regular home biogas setup. I needed to build something big enough to handle waste from the whole neighborhood and actually produce usable electricity. That was when I moved on to the design and construction phase. With the amount of kitchen waste I was collecting from nearly 10 households, I knew I needed a much larger biogas system. I decided to use 2 large food-grade plastic barrels, each around 200 liters. The first barrel would be the main digester where the waste breaks down, and the second one would collect and store the gas. I connected the 2 barrels with PVC pipes and installed a one-way valve so the gas could only flow in one direction. The total cost for the entire system was only about $230, mostly using recycled materials and buying a few necessary fittings. Before putting any waste into the system, I had to process it very carefully. I asked my neighbors not to include things that are hard to break down, such as eggshells, onions, garlic, fatty meat, and toilet paper. These materials can easily cause clogs or slow down the digestion process. When I brought the waste home, I cut everything into small pieces, about 2 to 3 centimeters in size. Cutting the waste smaller increases the surface area for the bacteria to work on, which helps produce gas faster and in greater quantity. After cutting, I mixed the waste with water at a ratio of roughly 1 part waste to 2 parts water to create a thin slurry. This mixture flows easily, prevents the waste from packing tightly at the bottom, and allows the bacteria to work more effectively. Each time I fed the system, I prepared about 8 to 10 kilograms of this slurry. I added waste every other day, usually in the morning, so I could monitor it throughout the day. To prevent gas from escaping when opening the lid to add waste, I installed a feeding pipe with a valve and added a U-shaped pipe filled with water at the opening. This simple water seal acts like a valve, keeping the gas from leaking out when I open the lid. Around the fourth day after adding the first batch of waste, the gas collection bag started to slowly inflate. However, the gas was still weak and had an unpleasant smell. I knew right away that I needed to filter the gas before using it. Raw biogas usually contains hydrogen sulfide, H2S, a gas that smells like rotten eggs and can corrode metal and damage the generator. To filter the gas, I made a simple scrubber using a small plastic bottle filled with sawdust and iron scraps in a 3-to-1 ratio. The gas from the storage barrel passes through this filter before going to the generator. The iron scraps react with the hydrogen sulfide and trap the harmful gas, making the output much cleaner and less smelly. After installing the filter, the bad smell decreased significantly and the gas became more stable. I started testing the filtered gas with a small generator. The first time the garden LED lights turned on using gas produced from neighborhood kitchen waste, I felt really excited. However, the gas pressure was still not strong enough to run continuously for many hours. I realized I needed to keep monitoring and adjusting the amount of waste I added each day to maintain stable pressure. The system had started working, but I still needed more time to fine-tune it and find the most efficient way to operate it. Once the system started producing gas and the garden lights turned on for the first time, I felt really proud. But that feeling didn't last long. After just a few days of running, I began running into several problems that I didn't expect. The first issue was unstable gas pressure. Some days the generator would run fine for over an hour, but other days the flame would become weak and the generator would stop after only 20 or 30 minutes. At first, I thought the problem was with the generator itself. I checked everything, cleaned the spark plug, and even replaced some parts, but nothing changed. Later I realized the real problem was on the biogas side. I wasn't adding waste consistently. On some days I added too much, and on other days I added too little. This made the digestion process unstable and the gas production irregular. To fix this, I created a strict feeding schedule. I decided to add waste every 2 days at the same time in the morning. I also measured the amount more carefully, keeping it around 8 to 10 kilograms of slurry each time. After maintaining this routine for about a week, the gas pressure became much more stable. The second problem was the return of the bad smell. Even though I had installed the gas filter, after about 2 weeks, the smell started coming back again. When I checked the filter, I found that the iron scraps inside had already turned black and lost their effectiveness. I had underestimated how often the filter needed to be replaced. From that point on, I changed the filter material every 10 to 12 days instead of waiting until the smell returned. This small change made a big difference. Another issue I faced was a thick layer of scum forming on the surface inside the digester. This layer blocked the gas from rising properly and reduced the amount of gas being produced. At first, I didn't know what to do. I tried adding more water, but it didn't help much. Eventually, I learned to gently stir the mixture inside the tank every few days, using a long stick through the feeding pipe. This broke up the scum layer and helped release more gas. It became part of my regular maintenance routine. There were also moments when I felt frustrated. One time, the gas production dropped sharply for several days, even though I was following the schedule. I was worried that something had gone wrong with the bacteria inside the tank. After checking everything, I realized I had accidentally added some meat with too much oil a few days earlier. That batch had slowed down the digestion process. I stopped adding oily waste completely and waited patiently. After about 5 days, the gas production slowly returned to normal. These problems taught me that running a biogas system isn't just about building it once and letting it work. It requires consistent care and attention. Every small mistake in how I handled the waste or maintained the filter directly affected the results. But each time I fixed a problem, the system became more stable and reliable. By the end of the 3rd week, most of the major issues had been solved. The gas pressure was steady, the smell was under control, and I had developed a simple routine that I could follow without too much effort. The system was finally starting to work the way I had hoped. After more than 3 weeks of building and fixing various issues, the system finally started delivering clear and stable results. What I had hoped for in the beginning had now become part of my daily life. Every day, the biogas system produces enough gas for me to use for cooking. I can boil water for tea, cook rice, and stir-fry vegetables without needing to use traditional gas tanks. The flame is stable, burns with a clean blue color, and no longer has the unpleasant smell it had in the beginning. Having a free source of gas from kitchen waste has helped me significantly reduce my monthly gas expenses. But what satisfied me the most was using the gas to generate electricity. I connected the system to a small generator, and every evening the LED garden lights turn on thanks to the biogas. These lights illuminate the entire garden, making me feel safer and more comfortable when walking outside at night. Before, every time there was a power outage, my garden would be completely dark. Now, even when the grid goes down, the garden lights still stay on thanks to the electricity generated from kitchen waste. I also connected the generator to a small power station to keep the security camera running. The camera now operates 24/7 without any interruption, even during long power outages. This gave me a real sense of peace of mind, especially at night. I no longer have to worry about the camera turning off when the power goes out. Another unexpected benefit was the leftover liquid at the bottom of the tank after the waste finished breaking down. This liquid is rich in nutrients. I diluted it with water and used it to water my vegetable garden. After about 2 weeks, I noticed that my vegetables were growing better, with greener and stronger leaves compared to before. What used to be considered waste had now become a free and effective organic fertilizer for my garden. Looking back at the entire process, I feel very proud. From collecting kitchen waste from my neighbors, building the system, to fixing each small problem along the way, I finally have an independent source of energy. I have gas for cooking, lights to illuminate the garden, a camera for security, and a backup power source during outages. All of this comes from something that most people throw away every single day. This project didn't just help me save money, it also gave me a real sense of peace of mind and self-reliance. I'm no longer completely dependent on the electrical grid or gas tanks. More importantly, I've seen the real value in turning something that's usually considered waste into a useful resource.